You have no idea how many times I rewatched the song before I realised how important the comma in the main line of the song is. I mean, I rewatched this about 100 times anyway, because A, it's a new Steven Universe song, and B, it was a deeply unexpected, amazing song. But I was on like my 15th rewatch before I realised whether or not there's a comma in What's the Use of Feeling Blue completely changes the meaning of the song. Becca Sugar's too good at this, man. She's too good.
Yes, she probably is. So in this episode, that will be all. The Amethysts end up taking Greg and Steven to their Amethyst, who is normal sized and seemed to have been caught, but it becomes clear that they were all messing around and having fun. All of them are actually from Earth, including some Jaspers. But just after being introduced from these shockingly friendly Amethysts, Holly comes in to yell at the Amethysts and Jaspers for slacking off, with Steven and Greg conveniently hiding. They run past them all to sneak into a room where all of Pink Diamond's rose quartz gems are bubbled. Blue Diamond comes in still crying, but is soon after followed by Yellow Diamond of all people.
Just in case you haven't shit yourself yet this episode.
Yellow Diamond wants the rose quartz gems to all be shattered because of what Rose did, but Blue Diamond doesn't because it's what they have left to remember her. Yellow Diamond sings about how even though they love Pink Diamond, Blue Diamond more or less has to move on. More or less. During this, Steven and Greg try their best to hide and escape, but after the song, Ruby and Sapphire appear with Holly because she thinks they're assigned to Blue Diamond, when Blue Diamond says there was no such Earth mission assigned to any Sapphire. She nearly freezes up, but with Ruby by her side, she can explain that she foresaw that Blue Diamond wanted some humans for the zoo. They are all dismissed, and Steven and Greg tried to sneak behind the rest of the crystal gems, while Holly praises the diamonds as they get nearer to the exit. But right when they're about to enter the ship, Holly spots them and tries to stop them with her electric whip. But Ruby and Sapphire fuse back into Garnet, who stops her attack and knocks her down easily. When she threatens to report all of this, Pearl very smugly points out that Holly would have to admit that they let them escape 2 of the diamonds, which makes it apparent she will not say a word. They then leave on the ship, Steven happy to have his dad back. Hooray.
This is such a great conclusion of this Steven nuke.
Yes.
And I feel the title, That Will Be All, is very meta in this respect.
Yes, that will be all for this part.
Oh, it's practically Porky Pig going, that's all, folks, for God knows how long.
Yes.
Well, apparently we're getting weekly... by the time this episode's up, we're probably back to weekly episodes in the weirdest twist in Steven Universe scheduling yet.
Yes, the real plot twist.
Seriously, I love that song so much, but we'll go back to the stuff
great.
Before the song before I start ranting about it. Like, seeing all the Earth Amethysts and Jaspers is really cool.
Yes. I love how they were just messing with them.
They all have Amethyst's exact sense of humor, and I love it.
Yes, and Amethyst loves it.
Amethyst is so happy interacting with them, because this is also, I mean, so much stuff between her and Jasper was about Jasper shitting on Amethyst for being, like, broken or made wrong or something. Amethyst is not just meeting a room of people exactly like her.
Yes.
There's also the fact that pretty much all of them are physically off-model for the ideal Amethyst and Jaspers.
Yes.
Which presumably something to do with the Earth vein they came from. And there's also the fact that seeing all the Jaspers here have very chill personalities.
And are very different, are probably the most different looking.
Exactly, but also tells you a lot about the Jasper we know on Earth, is that her intense and cruel personality isn't just the way she's been made as a gem. It's a way that she's chosen to be. It's a kind of... She's chosen to be... Well, I mean, that might be exactly the kind of personality that succeeds in her role in Gem Society, but it's, it still leaves that she has chosen to be what succeeds in Gem Society rather than anyone who has any healthy social interactions in any form whatsoever.
Yes.
As opposed to all these Jaspers and Amethysts, who are all good bros. And they're good bros to Amethyst, Steven, and Greg.
Yeah. I loved the short little Jasper. She was so happy and cute.
She's so excited about someone being as small as her. I also love our Amethyst telling Greg that like his hippy dippy duds are a good look for him.
Yes. Actually, I used to love that Steven basically has the same outfit. He says it doesn't look good on Steven, but doesn't Greg.
Greg is a lot more hippy dippy than Steven.
True.
Steven looks like he's gonna grow up to be kind of a big hairy grunge rocker dude.
Maybe.
But they're all so excited about being Earth babies, and they're so friendly, and they all love their silly jokes, and they're all totally willing to help Greg and Steven, and I love it. And, you know, they've just about snuck them out, and then they have to go through one last room, which is chock fucking full of bubbled rose quartzes. Holy shit. Because I also just hadn't before this scene thought about the fact that once we're confirmed that rose quartz it was a quartz soldier and not a diamond, as a lot of people thought for a long time, I just hadn't thought about the fact that there would be more rose quartzes out there. But yeah, there are,
and for a long time.
I hadn't thought about it until this scene. But yeah, there are rose quartzes. There's hundreds of other rose quartzes, but they've all been bubbled in case they rebel.
Yeah. Oh god, imagine how they would react if all of them unbubbled.
God, if they unbubbled, that would freak poor Greg right the fuck out.
Yes. Like, I don't know how Steve would react, but Greg would probably just faint and actually die.
Well, I mean, we saw how agonized his reaction was way back when Amethyst shapeshifted into rose quartz.
Yes.
And I mean, part of the reaction was because he knew Amethyst was doing it to hurt him, but also, after these 14 years, he's still struggling with losing rose quartz. And seeing hundreds of creepy clones of your dead loved one is probably not a helpful aspect of anybody's grieving process.
If you think.
And then Steven starts crying, and holy shit, Blue Diamond's here.
Yes.
And then holy shit, Yellow Diamond's here.
And the yellow and blue pearls, which was the best part.
But yeah, I love the fact that we get both those pearls in one room for the first time. But, I mean, this is the point where all my notes are in all caps, because I'm freaking out.
Me too.
I also just love thinking about just the scale of gem existences and why it makes them so condescending towards, you know, squishy organic life. You know, there's a bit where Yellow Diamond is like, it's something like, you can't be sad forever, and Blue Diamond just goes, why not? And you remember, oh yeah, these things are probably literally immortal, and we have no idea how old they are. Like, they were probably already ancient 5,000 years ago. We probably cannot comprehend the scale of age for this society or these individual members of it.
Yeah.
And it's probably part of why they don't even treat, you know, squishy organic life as even sentient beings. It's just, frankly, by gem standards, humans don't exist for very long. So they're just used to thinking of such short-lived mortal creatures as just not even mattering because they're going to be gone in, like, you know, barely 100 years, no time at all. It's a time is relative thing. Blue Diamond is still grieving 5,000 years on with a kind of intensity that you'd expect to see in, like, the first couple years after someone's death. I mean, you know, Queen Victoria, eat your heart out. Blue Diamond has this on lockdown. And she's grieving so intensely that the highly empathetic Steven keeps crying whenever he's near her.
I still don't think we know exactly why.
We don't know.
Weird.
My best guess at this point is that because all of Steven's powers are highly associated with his emotions, he's able to channel particularly strong emotions from
a strong gem.
Yeah, which the diamonds are. Also, I can't get over how much I love, I'm sure I've mentioned this repeatedly recently, but I can't get over how much I love the sheer physical scale of the diamonds.
Oh yeah, and it was showcased great here. Because,
yeah.
like, the whole time you have Steven and Greg just in the foreground, and they just have giant diamonds in the background.
Yeah. Right, the whole way through the musical number, you know, you just have these tiny little humans creeping around these gigantic diamonds who thankfully don't even notice them because they're too wrapped up in their feelings.
And their song.
And their amazing song. It's a great visual design choice. It's a shorthand to depict how powerful and how pseudo-divine they are. Like I said, they're basically treated as untouchable goddesses by Gem Society. Yellow Diamond refers to Blue Diamond as, she refers to them as leaders. She talks about specific types of gems that are under Blue Diamond's control. I also like that we finally get an explanation of Lapis Lazuli's powers, which I don't think it was ever explicated why she had such incredible power of war. Well, there's a line, it's easy to miss, I missed it the first few times, but like I said, I rewatched the song like 100 times. When she's describing, the use of gems. An army fights a war, a sapphire tells you what it's for, she tells you the future purpose of all your actions, an agate terrifies, so, they're drill sergeants, a lapis terraforms. Lapises are for terraforming worlds. For what purpose, we don't really know yet. I'm presuming to make them better for growing better gems.
Yeah.
But, that explains why Lapis Lazulis can manipulate water on such scale. And possibly also, maybe not all Lapises control water. Maybe there's some of them that, manipulate stone, for example.
Yeah.
Maybe there's ones that can manipulate plants. We don't know.
Well, maybe that's why rose quartz can use plants.
Maybe. That might have been a function of rose quartz soldiers. So, it's just a little line that was slipped in there, but gives a lot of context to Lapis's place in Gem Society.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Oh god, I can't get over how atmospheric it is with Yellow Diamond waving around the bubbled rose quartzes at several times during the song.
Just the whole look of the thing. Basically, any of the shots where you could see, basically all the shots where you could see Greg and Steven compared to them are just done fantastically.
Yeah, and also a few of the ones with the pearls who are just, backing up Yellow Diamond.
I did love how they started this song, which is basically Pearls sing for her. It's great.
She gets them to sing her backing line. They dance along to the song. At one point, she just holds out her hand, and they go up and they pose on the hand, and they do a little bit of dancing. Just, because everyone needs friends who follow them around and sing along to their amazing musical numbers, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and then at the end of the song, when Yellow Diamond starts getting overwhelmed, again, it was like my 15th or 16th watch of the song when it's at the end of the song when she just repeats, what's the use of feeling, what's the use of feeling, what's the use of feeling, and then you realise, oh, she could be asking what's the use of feeling blue as in feeling sad, or she could be asking Blue Diamond, who she addresses as Blue, what is the use of emotions? I'm sure plenty of other people have discussed that already, but it took me a while to realise the all-importance of that comma.
I think the second time I watched it, I think I got that. It was like, the way she was looking and it was like, my thought was more projecting.
Oh, I got too wrapped up in Blue Diamond's sadness, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's the song that very quickly made me interested in Yellow Diamond as a character and not just an antagonistic force.
Yeah.
Because she's got ish with the concept of having emotions. She has various serious issues with the concept of having emotions. Like, all through the song, she talks about the function of all the gems, and she even talks about the function of the diamonds. They're there to lead all these gems. Which is also actually the closest I've seen any of the diamonds come to referring to lesser diamonds as, sentient beings. Not just saying they need a controller, they need a leader. Which, it's a very different connotation. It's not just that they need someone to order them and command them, they need someone to lead them. And I want to know more about the relationship between the diamonds, because we know that they're in charge of all the other gems, but we don't know what the specific relationship between the diamonds themselves is. And throughout this particular Steven nuke, we've seen that whatever it is, it's close enough that the loss of one of them is agonizing to at least two of the others 5,000 years later. We still know nothing really about White Diamond.
No.
But, Blue Diamond can't stop crying. Yellow Diamond hates the concept of having emotions. And, they both openly refer to still loving her, Pink Diamond, after all this time. Which I also love the word love being used in a platonic sense in this show, which it is a lot. It's so often reserved solely for romantic usage in popular media.
Yeah.
and that undersells the importance of platonic or family bonds, I feel like. So, we don't know, are the Diamonds sisters? Are they best friends? Are they polyamorous space lesbians? I'm up for any of these interpretations, but I am curious to know more about, what precisely is the nature of their bond, and for that matter, where they come from, and what is their purpose in creating more gems and spreading across the universe. Where do they come from? What is their purpose? I want to know more about the Diamonds as characters in a way that I didn't before this particular Steven nuke.
Yeah.
And all thanks to an incredibly good musical number.
The power of music.
Power of music.
Yeah.
I also I have to say, a weird thought I had, which, might not be anything, but I'm wondering if Rebecca Sugar also is planning for music to turn up to actually be a very integral part of Gem Society. Because it's an integral part of the narrative of the show, but it's also often acknowledged in universe as an integral part of the narrative of the show. It's not just... Like, in a musical, there's often a suspension of disbelief. The show doesn't actually expect you to believe that in the middle of French Revolution, all these people have stopped shooting each other to sing at each other.
It'd be great if it did.
But the show regularly does expect you to believe that in universe, these characters are singing plot points to each other. They're singing backstory to each other. Stephen explicitly refers to having his dad tell him stories through the medium of song because he's raised him to love music.
Yes.
Dance is an integral part of how gem fusions work. And, Rose Quartz implicitly fell in love with Greg in no small part because of his talents as a musician. So I'm wondering if music is going to turn out to be woven into Gem Society in some interest. Like, it was just a thought that came to me when I was watching, What's the Use of Feeling Blue for the 50th or so time. And at the end, when Yellow Diamond's starting to break down a little, she calms herself down by humming the chorus line, humming the backing line music from the beginning of the song over and over. So I'm just wondering if music is going to be closely woven into, like Gem Physiology or Gem Society in some... Again, if anyone can do it, Rebecca Sugar can.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure why I could add to that.
My extensive ranting about why I love this song.
Yeah. It was really good, though, and, I was hoping to see a villain song at some point, basically. Though this wasn't what I had in mind, but...
It's kind of in the Disney model of villain songs being amazing.
Yeah.
Probably still not the best song in the show, because I think that might still be It's Over, isn't it? That's
yes,
still
it
the
is.
best song in the show.
That's still the best one. But, though I hope someday we get something a little more dramatic for villains. I want to see a Gem version of Be Prepared or something.
Oh my god, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Like, Yellow Diamond hinted it a little with her Let's Make a Plan of Attack line, but I would love to see a full-on Be Prepared level villain song. Oh.
Yes.
Either on the level of that or Poor Unfortunate Souls, because
yes.
That's also... Like, that sequence is easily the best part of The Little Mermaid. Well, aside from the part where, a dude rams a giant sea monster with a ship and stabs it to death, that's also pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
In a Disney movie!
Do-do-do-do.
We get the amazing fucking song number, and then Holy Agate turns up with Ruby and Sapphire and fangirls the hell out of it.
Yes. At that point I put in caps, Sapphire, get out now.
I wondered if Blue Diamond was going to recognise that specific Ruby and Sapphire, but there isn't really any reason for her to, because implicitly there's,
No.
at least a few other Sapphires and hundreds other Rubies.
Yeah.
So, Sapphire literally freezes up until her girlfriend holds her hand, my precious nervous child. I also love how Future Vision is a lot like the Speed Force and Flash things. You can use it to explain fucking anything. You can pull any shit and just go, Future Vision, I saw it in the future. That's why.
Yes.
And gets away with it. And then again, the diamonds refer to the cluster. So I think it really is just that the diamonds don't know that anything's happened to the cluster. They think everything's going to go down. They think everything's going to go down on schedule. And again, I am curious. I do wonder what's going to happen when the diamonds find out about the existence of a half-human, half-gem, because I also don't think they know. They don't know that Steven exists.
Yeah.
So, I mean, presumably, I'm guessing the implication here is that the cluster not busting out on schedule is going to bring the diamonds to Earth sooner or later.
Yeah.
Like, personally to Earth for reasons other than mourning Pink Diamond.
Either that, they're just going to keep sending soldiers to try to find Jasper.
I am interested where that's going.
I am amused. They made no mention of the... Yellow Diamond made no mention of the rubies. Just, where have they been? Just no mention.
Yeah, at the end of this episode they go back to Earth. I wonder if they are going to pick up the rubies on the way back.
Yes. It'd be great if next episode just starts with them with the rubies.
Just dragging them behind in bubbles or something.
Yes.
I would love it if Garnet just, like, adopted all the rubies and...
Yes.
Taught them the joys of being gay and living on Earth.
Yes. Well, Garnet should do that since he's such a great mom.
She is. Mom squared. Best mom.
Yes.
Then we leave the diamonds to their mourning while everyone's completely It's like, oh, God. Christ, what is the character I'm thinking of with just the shitty hiding? Is it Pink Panther I'm thinking of? Actually, no. What it reminds me of, like, a sequence towards the end of the Blues Brothers, where they're completely non-subtly sneaking towards, the place where they're having the final concert. And it's just that every single time the police just happen to be looking the wrong way, or, they're crab walking under awkward things.
Yes, that is kind of like that.
This is them creeping around Holly Agate while she's too busy fangirling about the diamonds to notice them.
Yes, that whole scene was just also really tense. I was just like, don't look behind.
And, at one point she does, and she just still doesn't see them because she's staring at the ceiling and screaming about how great the diamonds are.
Yeah. And then she sees them all just as they're entering the ship. And then
I love that shot of all of them just frozen in the middle of climbing into the ship with wide-eyed, horrified faces.
Yes.
It's the point where you need a wah, 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 wah sound effect if it was like an old Warner Brothers cartoon or something.
Yes, exactly. I do love how she still blames the Amethyst for this.
She does.
You see Pearl and I think Ruby pushing them in. They're still like, oh, it must be the Amethyst. Okay.
Yep. Garnet refuses to save them all with the power of lesbians. Like, I love her also, she gets out of Holly Agate's web and she forms up her gauntlet fist.
Yes.
And then just pushes her over with her other fist.
That was great.
Pearl is so smug when she gets to swagger over and she gets to boop Holly Agate's nose while telling her, "You're not going to tell anybody that anything happened here."
Yeah, that might be the coolest Pearl moment ever. I love that.
Oh, it was just so soothing. Just especially for after all of them having to get stuck back into Gem Society roles and being awkward and uncomfortable and unhappy, they're getting to bust out and be themselves again.
Yes.
And it's great.
and then she leaves by saying, "That will be all."
It was lovely. I think the Amethyst and Jaspers love seeing it too.
Yes.
I mean, Holly Agate seems like that is exactly the kind of character who she's probably going to deal with being angry about this by being even more unpleasant than usual to the Jaspers and Amethyst under her control, but they're probably going to talk about this forever and love it.
Yes.
Also, in the final shot, when we see them flying away, you get to see, blue diamond and yellow diamond ships, the big blue and yellow arms.
Yeah.
So I'm, part of me is a little bit curious about Lapis's green hand ship, and I'm just like, are all gem ships hands and arms? Are they all part of some really fucking big thing with like dozens of arms? I'm even more, this is like, she finally gave us something that wasn't on Homeworld, but it was in like a Homeworld Society area, and it just made me more thirsty for intel about Homeworld.
Yes.
God, fucking, I'm so glad Rebecca Sugar makes cartoons instead of dealing drugs.
Wait, what? Did I miss something?
She's so good at making you want more, damn it.
Okay. That's not where I would have gone ever. But okay. That's gonna be like the third craziest weekend I've ever had. It's a great line.
I also love those characters who live ridiculous lives and like are at the point where they're specifically ranking the ridiculousness.
Yes. Where would I rank this?
I think there's one of the Discord books where something truly fucking absurd happens, and the librarian's like, "This is the 7th weirdest Tuesday I've ever had." And this is a man who in the second book got turned into an orangutan and stayed as an orangutan to the point where everyone else has forgotten he's an orangutan. And if someone says there's an orangutan in the library, people will probably go ask the librarian if he's seen it. So, I love characters who kind of are just like, yep, I live a weird fucking life.
I do always love that, where, like, something weird in you of, like, the character who's just, like, not knowledgeable about that, just being so confused and distraught about it, and then, like, the people who are used to it are just like, whatever.
Yeah.
No biggie.
Must be Wednesday.
Yeah, my main thought after this is that they're kind of pushing their luck. Because at some point they're gonna find out.
Well, I mean, it might just speak to the sheer scale of Gem Society, both in terms of space and time. Like, if they're running a lot of shit over a broad section of the universe, they might get intel about what's going on Earth very rarely. It's just every so often they go, oh, by the way, did anyone get that Jasper yet? No. Maybe they delegate a lot of shit, so most of what's happening on Earth hasn't reached the diamonds at all, aside from that one Peridot called Yellow Diamond a Claude. Which she might have forgotten, because also, I mentioned earlier about, the concept of relative time. Well, time is relative. And it's something that I like when they bring up in terms of ageless characters, the fact that very long stretches of time don't seem like a lot to them. Like, like I said, 5,000 years is not a lot of time. So they're processing things on a different scale to what us squishy mortals do, who know that we're going to die. So, again, it might be a very, very long time in human terms before they realise things aren't quite up and going well in that sector of the universe. Because, for them, checking in on something every so often might be, every 500 years or so, every few thousand years.
Yeah.
So, I do hope they're building it up to more of the diamonds coming to Earth and shit going down. But, yeah. It's not implausible for them to be able to push shit this far.
Yeah.
And I bet you Stephen will befriend all of them. This is how the series is going to end. Stephen is going to have made friends with fucking everybody in the universe.
Yes. That's why, then you know why it's really called Steven Universe.
Just Stephen is going to befriend everybody in the universe. That's how I think it's going to end.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to when they either bring out, like, a CD, if they've got enough, large songs done to do a CD of them.
They probably do.
Like, I would buy that. I would pay money for that. I would pay so much money for that.
Don't say that. They'll raise the price because of that.
I don't care. Probably by the time this airs, I'm getting paid in yen anyway. We're rolling. That'll be all. That's all.
Everybody's really gay.
Is that the new theme song?
It is now.